So like just flaky, not ready to take the plunge.
Yeah. So how do you express that to your agents, and how do you sort of turn that around as that being, considering that, how do you turn it around into a positive, into why somebody should work with you? I have ideas, but I want to hear what your
noise. Yeah, just shifting the focus to education. Just like really hammering down on the fact that right now people need education more than they have in the last decade when it comes to how mortgages work and what their options are, and where the hidden benefits are within, obviously buying a house is great, but where the actual benefits. And so just hammering that with realtors and just letting them know that if their lender isn't doing that and they're just, sending over quotes and running the pre-qual, the 15-minute pre-qual, that they're doing them a disservice, because it's all education is super important right now.
100%. And I think we talk, like, if you talk to your realtors, their opportunities are probably less also, right? So the amount of referrals they're getting are probably less, right? So if you think about it, it's real. I had a realtor meeting last week, and what I expressed was, because I asked what were some of the challenges. Same thing, less quality referrals, less committed people, fence sitters, right? So you can, to your point, you can turn around and say, listen, you're exactly right. We have less opportunities right now in the market. So it is that much more important that we maximize every single opportunity. And there is so much noise out there, like just the general media. It's all negative, right? It's a bad time to buy, rates are high, all these reasons to get people just cemented and not to do anything, right? People are freezing. So use that as the positive. Say, listen, what we like to do within our Smart Starts, we like to educate and consult. That's what we do, right? If you have a buyer that is finally ready to get pre-approved, and you let them push a button online, right, and don't go through that consultation, you're shortchanging yourself, and those buyers those are the ones we're losing, right? What we do, and then you explain our process, and we like to educate and consult. We give them data, we give them numbers. If somebody is mentally ready to buy and they can afford it, most of the time at the end of our Smart Start meeting, they are pumped up, they're ready, they're motivated. And when we kick them back to you, and you've got a borrower that calls you up and says, hey, I just had my Smart Start with Andy, my purchasing power is 450, and I want to see properties this weekend.
Yeah.
That's what you want to hear.
Yeah. Right? Michael, it's funny. I got a little echo action. Andy, maybe go on mute. So I've got a realtor that annoys the crap out of me, that he calls old dead leads, and he comes into the office, and McCain and I work with him, and we try to help him. And I told him that there's a rhythm and a cadence to leads, and there's a timing, and there's a value add when someone is working with a realtor and working with a lender. There's this chemistry. And so he's trying to figure it out, right? And I don't want to speak in tongues here. Like, there's a rhythm and the cadence. That when a lead calls you back, there's a certain interest. Somehow there was a buildup. Somehow you're ready to, like you just said, Michael, educate the client on why they should come in, educate the realtor. So anyways, this realtor just doesn't get it. We're trying to work with him. So he's in here, and there was a lead from an open house like 3 weeks ago. It was he said it's an older woman, and mind you, he's 25. It's an older woman, and she wants to buy for her mom. So I'm like, okay, she's probably in her 50s, and her mom's in her 70s. So we texted her, and we leave her a voicemail. So I get a call yesterday morning from Heather Hart. I answer, and she sounds like mid to late 50s, and she goes, oh, I got a call yesterday and, a text. I was like, oh, yeah, my name's Brendan, and a guy named Nick met you at an open house. And she's like, oh, and then all of us, she had called me. It's 8:50 in the morning. And then she starts telling me her story, right? Mm. And I said, well, I've helped Nick and his boss, Katie. They run a big real estate team at Compass. I've helped them throughout the years with their clients. She chattering on more and more. And then I'm trying to just go, okay, how do I close, Michael, or how do I build the value with someone who is essentially a cold call?
Yeah.
You guys tracking? And I could tell she wanted to hang up on me after I said, oh, Nick referred me, I'm a lender. And then so she said, it's all noise until I said, well, that I help people and your mom could possibly need a reverse mortgage. And if you're going to buy for her, you might buy it in your name. There's some rule changes. It could be an owner occupied home that you own, but you don't live in, and you could put as little as 5% down. There's probably a lot of variables with your mother's situation. I have a very similar situation. I'm a conservator for my mother-in-law. We're 4 minutes in, Michael, 4.5 minutes into the call. She proceeds to then go, and I had said what a Smart Start meeting would be, where my office is. I've done this 28 years. I realize you kind of just met Nick at an open house. He thought I could be helpful. So she says, hey, I've got to run. But here's what I'm going to do. Once my mom and I find a house, I'm going to reach out and call you.
Perfect.
No, you know what I said,
I'm
Michael?
kidding. No,
you know what you guys ready? This is what I said. I said, no, I don't want you to do that. That's not how I help people. I am not the person you call to get a rate quote from once you find a home. What I do is help people plan their whole process, and exactly your situation, I help you with a plan.
The challenger.
She said something, and I said goodbye, and I hung up. Here's the deal, guys. If you can't fire a know-it-all open house lady 3 weeks later from a realtor that I didn't want to hear it anymore. If we don't have very, very clear, she said something and she had to go. She was hanging up on me, by the way.
Yeah.
So I was just like, hey, I'm sorry. That's not what I do. This is what I do. I'm giving you guys a way more angry version of it, but I was very firm. I don't want that phone call. Do you guys want that phone call? No one wants that phone call. Mm-mm. That's the what do you got for me call. I'm under contract. What is your rate? That's the shittiest call we get.
Yeah.
Who likes that call? No one wants that call. I don't want that call. That's not how I help people. That makes me want to quit the business. So, smile. Michael.
Now, time out. If you had said that to maybe you never
nicely
know what the reaction might have been. You might have had somebody that said, yeah. "Oh, okay, well, tell Michael, me more." You never know.
For the 5-minute buildup, that's all I was saying I did.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Well, hey, I gotta go." And then when I called the realtor, I just said, "Hey, Nick, take her off your list." Nick, what we talked about yesterday was building momentum with people. This lady would never hire you. She's buying for her mom. You're 25. You didn't build any value. And she the only reason she called the number back is she didn't know what it was. She didn't listen to my message. She didn't respond to my text. She doesn't want a meeting. So here's the thing. We've got to stop as mortgage people believing that our realtors actually build the value for us. If we can't determine our value and stick to our guns, we're not going to succeed. We're going to just be waiters and waitresses for our realtors. That's, if you're a waiter, what's the price? Oh, my steak's $15. Get a tip. Go ahead and check what you make every loan that you do. You make a lot of money. You have to be a consultant. Right now, it's the real business. I keep saying it, it's the real business. Michael, you and I have been in the real business for, you 25 years,
28.
me 28. We're both 28. We've been in the real business 3 to 4 times now. Most people have only been in the real mortgage business once, and that's now. Because everything prior to that, Andy Garrettson, hey, 8 out of 10 leads convert. By the way, Andy's next door to me. I coddled him as a little baby. I bottle fed him. I gave him the little bottle. He sat and he saw and then he was like, oh my God, this is the real business. So here's, to be constructive. I think I wrote this down this morning, and I think that you guys all should know this. I believe the following. Anyone buying a home is experiencing some level of fear. Rich and poor is what I wrote down. Rich people and broke people. So if you believe that, anyone buying a home right now is experiencing some level of fear. If you innately believe that, then a meeting can help that fear. I know that lady was experiencing fear trying to find her mother a place. She mentioned that everything was $650,000 to $750,000, that she didn't even know. She all the warning signs. So, hey, why not just go to an open house and talk to a realtor? Like, what's that going to do? All right. Number 2, 90% of clients actually want advice on their situation. 90%. Would anybody take a wild guess why I think 90% of their clients want advice?
This 10% are know-it-alls.
Yeah, maybe. That's good. Anybody else? 90% of clients?
Because
Sam?
90% of those people feel that your advice may help their fear.
Possibly. I like that. Jesse?
I was afraid to say
Jesse,
that.
No, I like, Jesse, any thought on 90% of clients actually wanted advice on their situation?
I agree that not everybody wants your advice because some are know-it-alls, but I don't know why you picked that number.
Well, here's why I
Good
picked that number. And the number, and 67% of statistics are made up on the spot. So maybe this is one of those. I think that 9 out of 10 people that come in, when we have the All About You form and we write, where are you with your money? Do you have a financial planner? No. Do you have a tax person preparing your taxes? No. Do you have someone assisting you with your money decisions? No. Do you have a will? No. Do you do a monthly budget? Well, sort of. Do you save money monthly? Question mark. Certain amount. You know, do you put money in your 401k? Yeah. What's the balance? Don't know until I look at it. Ask somebody this, how much have you put into your 401k? Not what's the balance. They won't know. They won't know. They'll go, well, don't you I think I max out at 3%. And if you say, well, wait a minute, if you went back the last 3 years, what was your actual contribution to your 401k and where is it now? 0 of 0 people would know that answer. One might go, oh, my rate of return is 13.5%. My company matches 2.5%. So statistically, I'm up at 14.677% on the year, but the market just declined 2%. That's like the know-it-all person, which, by the way, you love that person. Because then you say, hey, my mortgage scale will be great for you because it's real analytical. So I said not 90% of people actually want advice because here's the thing. They don't have anybody. They circle no to all those questions. At least the ones that come in to see us in our office. Michael, when they're filling out your all about you, is it 9 out of 10 that pretty much circle no to all that?
Yep.
Now, I guess the key word there, Jesse, is want. And I go back to fear, and I go back to number one. I do think they want your advice once they realize you're qualified to give them advice. So that's where it's kind of like you have to position it to where you are qualified. So all of you have heart issues. We're all at a coffee shop, and I'm Dr. Donaldson. And I walk in, and some guy goes, "Oh my God, that guy's an amazing heart guy." Like, at some point, you're going to come over because you have fear around your heart and say, "Hey, I think I need heart surgery. What do I do?" And then I might say, "Well, hey, it's really complicated. Why don't we set an appointment at my heart clinic?" So I think that I tell you that because we can't advise people over the phone. We cannot do that. That lady called me at 8:55, returning a phone call from yesterday. There was no way I could advise her on her mother's situation, right? So I was just prepping for a meeting close to say, "Hey, I think we should just get together and talk it through." So back to my beliefs, little side trail there, just trying to give you some context to anytime you're going to go through something fearful on your own, a car buying thing, you got to invest money in with a financial planner. You have to go to a doctor. You have to go to a lawyer. Like, I always believe that the best of the best do a 30 to 45-minute consult with you before you make the decision. That's what I believe.
Yep.
Now,
Brendan,
yeah.
you said people want your advice after they decide that they trust you, or that
I just said that they want advice on their situation. I just happen to be the person in front of them giving my opinion of what they should do. So do they want my advice? I don't know. I just think they want advice.
So when your phone rings from a new lead, maybe they're indicating that they're talking to another lender, maybe they're not. What's your first 2, 3, 4 sentences where you frame yourself to that new lead as being a consultant?
It's very simple. John, how do you know, that's great that we're on the phone. How do you know the realtor? We're role playing.
I actually met him at an open house, and he showed me a few places. He's great.
Okay, great. Well, wow, you got lucky meeting him at an open house. I met him about 4 years ago at a realtor event where I was working with a bunch of other realtors in his office, and we just hit it off, and he seems to be a really good guy.
Okay, great.
Well, hey, did he tell you how I work or how I've helped his other clients successfully get a mortgage and buy a home?
He didn't give me a ton of info. He really suggested that I contact you first. He felt like we'd really click.
Okay, well, cool. How about this? This may sound funny, but since you randomly met him, I don't think you have any reason to trust me yet.
Okay.
Or him, really. You guys hit it off. So here's my approach with someone that you met my realtor buddy at an open house. So there's no obligation. So what I'd like is to do exactly what I do with my referred clients that know me, that might be a neighbor or a past client or a friend. And I would like for you to come in to a Smart Start meeting. There's no obligation. It's 45 minutes. I'm going to send you the outline of what we do. And then I'm going to walk you through all the steps. And at the end of the meeting, we can make a decision whether we're a good fit or not. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Cool. Can you meet me next Tuesday?
Actions have had a knock-on effect.
Yeah, it's good. So your approach on this really out of the gate is you're encouraging them that they're going to select you as the person that they want to work with.
I'm just trying to tell them, don't trust me, trust my process.
Okay. Don't trust me, trust my
Like,
process.
why should they trust me?
So So you want to schedule a smart start before you even do a soft pull?
I don't care. Just come in. Let's talk about your credit. I can pull it face to face.
Nice.
Do you guys understand that people are buying a home? It's the largest investment they're ever making. If you think you need to pull credit to see people, you're in McDonald's. You're in the McDonald's. You're a waitress or a waiter. And I use that as like negatively. Let's not say server. You're either a waitress or a waiter if you think you have to get docs to talk to people. That's what realtors think. I got one realtor that makes $1 million. All the rest are broke. I got a couple wealthy realtors. Check that. I've got about 5 or 6, but the rest are broke ass people. So they operate in desperation. And when they operate in desperation, Jesse, why didn't you get their pay stubs? I don't understand. You didn't have them pull credit? Well, no, you met them at an open house. I'm just trying to give them some advice. They did their last 4 loans online. Let's make it a conversation. So, John, I'm always playing let's meet, and the meeting's going to be about you, not about me.
Now, Brendan, you probably have, once you set the meeting, you probably have what, about half of the people that would actually go online, do the app, view pull, whatever, soft, hard pull, whatever you do.
You know what?
50.
I think that comes in waves, probably 50%.
Yeah.
Yet my most recent one the other day, they filled out everything. We did it. I sent the follow-up info. They want to mull it over, and we're supposed to talk today or Monday as a follow-up.
Got it.
So you don't mind going into a smart start without a mortgage scale prepared, without specifics about them. You just kind of organically see where it goes.
John, it's a conversation. If they fill out the all about you, and I have my credit, income, and asset note page, and I have a chalkboard, and I have my cell phone, I can do battle.
Yeah. So when you're doing the smart start, are you hitting them with some sample numbers and showing them like rent versus own if applicable, equity building?
John, I'm going through the Smart Start packet. I'm answering the questions on the All About You form. And then if it leads to a mortgage scale and I have nothing other than their salary and they say they have an 800 credit score, like every one of them is a little different. But yeah, eventually you have to show numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, there's no one size fits all. It's consultant versus sales, consultant versus salesperson, consultant versus salesperson. Salespeople answer questions over the phone to get a sale. Consultants advise people. It's just, so my tactic, John, is never like sell anybody anything. It's advise them and listen.
So I think what you just said, Brendan, salespeople answer questions, but consultants ask the questions. And it's just like, I overheard some of that smart start that you mentioned, whether it was yesterday or the day before, and you had all the info, but you purposefully just said, hey, I'm just going to walk you through this stuff. I'm going to kind of lead you down our process. And like, you could have just dove into their 1003 and, filled in the cracks and just walked them through and then went straight to a mortgage scale, even though because you had all the info, but you purposely just said, no, we're going to go through our process, which is Smart Start.
Yeah. Well, and that's the difference between being a processor loan officer and an advisor loan officer. There's a lot of good, I know the process and I know the rules, so here's how to do it, and I'm a great loan officer. They're just a processor loan officer. I mean, there's some processor loan officers that close 20 loans a month. I'm
Different
not
way of-
taking anything away from a great processor loan officer. It's like, who do you want to be? Do you want to? It wasn't there the golfer that like hit the ball down the middle every single time, and statistically he was the greatest golfer on the planet, like statistically, but he didn't win. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just saying, pick your battles. I'm going to pick the consultant route because it makes me feel better advising people. So this might not be for you. You know, Andy, it was nice that you heard that, because like in the end, that guy's super analytical.
Hmm.
And so I had to peel it back a little bit.
Yeah. Totally.
Michael, any other thoughts today? I know we're at the 30-minute mark.
Yep. No, I just think that now more than ever, people need the consultation. They need hand-holding. They need what we can offer, what we are used to delivering through our consultation. You know, whether you call it Smart Star or you call it your consultation, whatever you call it, you have to have the consultation. You have to be the advisor, and they have to be committed. They have to be all in. If they're not, it's not going to work. It's going to waste everybody's time. So you're trying to weed through. It is sort of a weeding out process, right, Brendan? I mean, you know, for you, it's a weeding out process, and I'd be willing to bet that you probably have the highest good rate, meaning appointments in the office to closings. I would be willing to bet yours is probably the highest. Now,
I don't know about that.
Well, I bet it is. Maybe your gross leads isn't the highest, but I think your conversion rate is, because you're methodical and detailed about how you do it.
Well, and I don't know any other way, Michael. Maybe that's it. And if I do it another way, I feel powerless.
Right.
So if that makes any sense, that lady exhausted me yesterday in the 18 seconds that she dismissed everything I said, put me in a box, and said, "Hey, what I'm going to do is just call you once I find a house." And I was like, "No, you're not. That's not how I work. No, thank you. Here's how I work. Goodbye."
Yep.
You know.
And I think a lot of people, and I think a lot of people on the call are opposite. They don't know this way, right? So I think not everybody, but you know, I think this isn't quote normal. I think the majority of the lenders out there are the processor type lenders, not consultants. So I think, you know, as people come into the fold, they're learning a different way, right? Or I think many are, not everybody. And this is why we do the call, right? This is why we have it. So I think the best thing you can do for yourself and for your referral partner, whether it's a financial planner, real estate agent, mainly realtor, because they have a piece of, you know, they have income on the line, they have commission on the line, right? I think the best thing that you can do, like I've been talking to realtors in depth about what we do, especially now, because they're seeing the same thing. They're seeing fence sitters. They're seeing people, hey, had a great call with them, then all of a sudden they fall off the face of the earth. What happened? Oh, they watched the news for an hour. That's what happened. Yeah. Right? We're trying to cut through the noise, give them facts, give them data, right? And have them make a decision based on those things: facts, numbers, information. Yeah. Because if they do, then I think not all, but I think the majority of the customers we meet with will decide, hey, I think now is a great time to buy. But they're not going to come to that conclusion without meeting with you. I can guarantee it. They're not going to see that on the news. They're just not. And they're not going to get it from their realtor either, because, you know, they think the realtor's just trying to sell them a home. So I think now more than ever is huge. This process is important. That's my thought.
I agree. I concur.
Yeah. And you just got to get better at it. I sort of learned this. I think I'm a good example of learning it over time. I didn't do this 5 years ago. Brendan, you know that, right? I mean, right? Leaves were falling out of the sky. I was more of that I was consultative in a way, but I didn't do this whole process. You know, over the years, I've morphed into doing more face-to-faces, more smart starts, and it works. So I think,
Yeah.
I think it's just, I think there's a better way to do it. And I think you develop better clients. I think you have clients that are willing to refer you more because you have more of a connection and a relationship, right? You're not just, when somebody presses a button to get a mortgage, are they going to refer Quicken? They don't care. It's a mega machine. They're not going to refer them necessarily. So Sam, you got a question?
Well, I just want to say that there's a thinning of the herd going on right now, both in the real estate ranks and in the loan officer ranks. And what you guys are saying, Mike, is 100% correct. This is a time where value can really be established when your competition and the agent's competition is going away.
Right.
People expect not great news. When you consult today, you have an opportunity to grab market share. And that's it. It's never been more important, ever.
Right. Yep, absolutely. You see it all the time. It's this is the cleansing, as you say, thinning of the herd,
Yeah.
for sure. And we've seen, as Brendan was saying, and Sam, this, we've seen this 3 or 4 times in 28 years. And I know for some of the newer folks, like newer meaning 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you haven't seen it, right? This is the first time that you've, Amy, you've seen it, but a lot of people on the call this is the first time they've had a really tough market, difficult market, right? But it's, you get through this on the other side is going to be many years of just, really, really good solid years. And there's business out there. So, you just have to have the mindset that, hey, look, you have to just keep doing what you should be doing. Don't crawl under the hole or under the rock because it's easy to do, right? Hide and just go do your other things that you don't, but mindset is so important right now, just keeping that positive mindset. And anytime you feel that fear or doubt in your mind, that's when you pick up the phone. That's when you go visit some people, because when you have positive meetings and positive phone calls, you're like, oh, this is great. It makes you feel good. I had a realtor meeting last week with a realtor that is so damn busy. She doesn't know what to do. Her issue is time management. She's so busy. How many people are talking to realtors that are so damn busy they don't know, they can't handle it? There's not a ton, but they are out there. They're out there. And you just have to, those are the people that you need to be in touch with.
The largest residential real estate company in the world is on track for their 4th best commission year of all time. KW is on track for their 4th best commission year of all time. If that doesn't tell you something, nothing will.
Right.
It's, again, less people doing more business. And if you look at the last time, Mike, 09,
yeah,
Guaranteed Rate and Cross Country and Quicken, while people had heard of them, when they came out of 09 and 10 and you got into 11 and 12, they exploded. And that is exactly what's going to happen for you guys when you work through this. Fact.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I never would have thought it would have been their 4th best year in history. I mean, that's pretty amazing if you think about it, right? If you probably would have, most people on this call would have thought it would be the 4th from the bottom, right? Maybe, because of what you hear and what you feel. But at the end of the day, there are people doing business, and good business. So, you just have to get it out of your mind, and you have to just take action, make those calls, visit your realtors, and maybe it's just finding new ones, right? That's my thing. Like, some of mine are stale. Some of, I want to find people that have positive mindsets that want to put a plan together to grow business. And so, you may just have to think about it and say, hey, I want to find new referral partners. Because there's people out there doing business. There's people out there who will make $1 million this year. So who you gonna tie your hitch to? Right? I think that's the question. So those are my thoughts. Anything else? We've got a couple minutes left. Any other thoughts or challenges, comments?
Michael, I was just gonna spin off what you said, just with like the momentum of like when those thoughts creep in, like do something. I've recognized that in the last couple weeks, months, where like in our business, it's easy to ride momentum. So like when the momentum's going, business builds off of itself.
Yeah.
But now when things are slowing down a little bit, I've definitely felt like, man, getting that momentum back going, just in my personal activity has been tough. And so just leaning into the stuff that we enjoy doing, like whether it's meetings, maybe with people that we've worked with in the past, but just something that will then build and then start that momentum back up if it feels like it's slowed down. So that's something I've recognized and tried to focus on, like the positive, just over the last month or two.
Yeah.
Hey, Andy, I don't know if you have noticed this, but people are saying this is the lowest application year since what? Does anybody know?
96.
That's right. I got started in late 95. So for me in 96, I had the best year that I'd ever had in my career. I didn't know any better. And that kind of just goes to show when they said the news, I figured, oh, it was probably 09 and they said 96. I'm like, what are you talking about? That was an unbelievable year for me. I just didn't know any better. I was in there just kicking ass and taking names. I mean, it's all up here. And man, am I old.
I'm with you, man. So like, I'll give you like a quick tip. So for those who do like videos, right, a lot of us on this call do videos. So I was, there's a real estate group that I've been trying to get some traction with, and it's just been a little tough. It's, it's hard to crack it, right? They have relationships, just hard to get in with them, but they're busy. They've got a good team. So I saw that they had an open house, nice house, nice home. And my video guy said, look, we need to do some videos at a really nice house. Let's get out of the office. Let's change the scenery a little bit. So I called Peter and I said, hey, it's the realtor. He runs the team. I said, Peter, listen, I know you have an open house on Myrtle Street over the weekend. I said, listen, I wanted to ask a favor. I need a really nice home where I can shoot some videos for about 2 hours. And I know you have an open house at 2 o'clock. So let me offer you this. I'd love to come out and do videos at the home. I'll get my videographer to do, he'll do like a 1-minute nice promotion video for the home. Maybe we can get a little traction for that house. I know it's been on the market for a couple weeks. And look, win-win situation. He's like, oh my God, let me check with Sarah, which is her partner or his partner, and called me back literally 10 minutes later. He's like, let's do it. So, I hadn't gotten really much. I mean, we've had conversations, but I had zero traction with him. So, and then he said, look, do you mind staying for a little bit of the open house just in case we have some buyers that come through, just talk a little bit about lending? I'm like, sure, I can do that. My wife's out of town this weekend anyway. It's great. So, I'll in open houses with a real estate agent, there's a lot. I mean, unless it's jammed with people, there's a lot of time to get pretty deep with a realtor. So, just one quick, super simple tactic that you could use if you are doing videos and you want to try to meet a real estate agent or at least get a little bit deeper with them. They want to promote the house. They want to sell the house. So just an idea there.
That's solid.
Yeah, Andy, I've seen you've done those. You've probably done them with your because I've done them with realtors that I'm really have tight relationships with. But now try to use that as your carrot to meet with somebody that you don't have a relationship with. And this is a $1.3 million home in town. It's a nice house, right? So the videos should they should look decent. So easy. So
Super solid.
All right. On that note, we've got 1 minute left, so we're gonna wrap it up early. You've got 60 seconds left in your day. How many extra calls can you make? All right, buddy. Thanks for joining. Have a good weekend.
Love it. Thanks, Mike.
We'll see you guys next week.